If you want to get ahead in your business, it's time to stop being the technician and step into that CEO, manager, and visionary role. And I'm referencing today the E-Myth Revisited. And today I'm going to be talking about how you can stop being the technician in your business, the one working in the business, start working on the business by stepping into CEO role, manager, and visionary, which really comes from the book E-Myth Revisited. Get the revisited version because it is the more updated one. And it's one of the most important first business books that I ever read because it started to explain something to me that so many business owners experience but don't necessarily have the language for, right? Like I was a trained coach, and rather than going the route of being hired by a company, I decided that I would go out on my own. But the problem is when you go to a coaching school to learn coaching processes, modalities, and such, you're not taught how to run a business. And this is the case for so many business owners, right? You're not just one person in your business, you're so many roles. But when you come in as the technician, the doer of the work, you're not necessarily being able to step into those multiple roles. You love to stay safe in that one place. So I'm going to talk more about how women are stuck overworking in this wrong one and how they need to kind of branch out into the other ones. So in the book, it goes through those three key roles: the technician, so the doer, the manager of the roles, the projects and such, and then the entrepreneur or visionary, that CEO role. So you got the doer of the work, the organizer of the work, and the future of the work, the technician. Most of us start here, right? So maybe you're an accountant, you're doing people's taxes, you are a cleaner, whatever it may be, you are the one doing this task. And so, or this skill, this talent, whatever you want to call it. And so you decide, I don't want to work for someone else. I'm going to go on my own and I'm going to make my own money rather than build someone else's business. But it also then means that you lose whatever team a company would have. So you're the one not only doing the technician role, right, delivering the services, but now you start all the other doing roles that the other technicians in the business would do, like answering emails, posting content, doing admins, solving problems, handling everything yourself. But that means you're like in execution mode all day long for the things that you're paid for and then the things you're not. And you're doing it all because, well, you're capable, probably. We've talked about that in other podcasts. And you become the default person for everything, every role, every task. And so we want to start stepping into this manager role. And what does that look like? Well, manager is going to start to create structure with all of those tasks. So they're going to make the systems, the processes, the timelines, the organization of everything, the follow-up, the consistency, right? Like the quality control of it all. This role is asking the question of how do we make this run better? How do we make the technician's role better? How do we make the organization be running better? And a lot of our entrepreneurs, they skip this role completely, which is why things can feel chaotic because you're just doing these one-offs all over and you don't know what the plan is. So the manager role is really important, especially if you do end up bringing other people onto your team as employees, contractors, and such. Visionary, that CEO role, right? They are the ones that look at growth, maybe partnerships, the bigger ideas, innovation, leadership, and long-term direction for the business. They're answering that question of where are we going? And if you get stuck in technician mode all day, you rarely have space to think like a visionary, right? It's like your head's down, you're doing the work, you can't come up and then do that bird's eye view above, looking down at everything, and you do the future view of everything, and you can't do a 360 where you're going to see kind of all the way around. And most women, we overfunction as technicians, right? So we spend so much of our time in the doing roles because it feels super productive. You can see immediate results, you can check things off your list, but meanwhile, the manager and the visionary role, they get neglected. So if you think back to the past, month, how much of your time in your calendar was allocated to doing that manager role, to your visionary role? If you don't do that, your business is going to feel heavy, maybe messy, and over dependent on you. So if you spent all your time doing the work, you won't have enough space to actually lead the work and to see where the problems are and how maybe things could be better. So this is why this is part of our VA series, because this is where support becomes really transformational, not just for you, but for the business. So the VA can take over the technician roles that you never wanted to do in the first place, the admin, the content creation, whether it be social media or for products, scheduling, your inbox management, following up with clients, leads, doing all the tech stuff, really doing all the things that you don't want to do. They can also help to create your systems, your SOPs, your standard operating procedures, which helps strengthen the manager role as well. And this is going to give you more time, more space, more energy to actually operate as the visionary. And ideally, they're having such a good ROI, return on investment, that they're helping you to make more money. So they're actually paying for themselves. And that's when businesses get to start scaling, which is fun, right? And the real goal is not to stop working because you were originally the technician for a reason. You're really good at it, I'm sure, right? And the goal is to give up certain things so that you're not the only one working on everything. So I hope you're seeing kind of where you're spending most of your time. I'm guessing it's in the technician role. And some people spend too much time in the visionary role and never get anything done. So I encourage you to grab that book, The E-Myth Revisited, to go through your time, start tracking it and see where you need to let go of things and where you need to plan the manager and the CEO or visionary time. And then let's have a conversation. I have some resources, free resources. We'll make sure that we put into the show notes so that you can grab them to start your journey on getting your own virtual assistant. If you'd like me to get that vetted dynamic virtual assistant for you, would be happy to, and really to share a lot of my systems, processes, and IP, make it like dead easy for you to be able to get started right away. Just reach out. We'll also have a link to my calendar to book a time to chat. So in the next episode, I'm going to talk about why smart, capable women struggle so much to delegate in the first place. And it's usually not about, about it not being a skill. It's more about mindset, identity, trust. So as I kind of wrap up here, one final question, which role actually needs more of your attention right now? That's the one to focus on first. And reach out if I can help you have your very own dynamic VA so that you have more time, energy, and finances, frankly, to scale your business the way you really want to. Until next time, stay dynamic. Bye.